Hello, one and all, and welcome to the CCL postseason. It has been an incredible year. Kickoff tournament, 9 weeks of regular season, split up in between two different segments of that regular season. But it comes down to trying to qualify our final overall squads for that 64-team double elimination style playoff bracket happening this weekend. My whole shift with me, Visions, as we're looking at the Southwestern region for our first couple of matchups for this regional qualifier. Visions, first and foremost, before we dig into the format, gotta ask, how are you doing, man? You're looking pretty blue, but only in shirt only. You're looking bright, but also blue, if you catch my drift.
I do, and I'm doing great, Alan. I'm doing great. I'm feeling really good. It's nice to be back on CCL here for this qualifier to see who's going to be able to make it in, right? I mean, this is what we talked about. We said this was going to fly by at the beginning of the season. Well, it certainly has. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, coming down to the final teams, and I'm absolutely ready to go, and I'm feeling good.
It's going to be a really, really exciting night. Now, what we're going to be doing on the evening is what we mentioned, the regional qualifiers. Call them the last chance qualifiers if you want to. But each of the regions, they qualified into playoffs the top 4 overall squads. Those that sat between 5 and 16, well, they get a bit of a second chance to work their way through. And the way that we do that kind of 12-team bracket is in essentially a double elimination style. Well, not really. It's you win 2 and you're in if you're coming from the first round. You just got to get through your top dogs team. So, to start things off in the opening rounds, elimination matchup between the University of Texas Longhorn Gaming going up against the University of Texas Dallas Green Squad, their second team overall. The winner of that one will move on to play up against the Texas A&M Maroon Squad. Not going to be an easy matchup whatsoever. It's kind of weird to see them outside the top 4, I think was our general consensus of the first place, Visions.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of mentally prepare for what is going to be a long night, right? Because you have to go through what is going to have to be a pretty tough match here, and then you're going up against, the champions from last year. So that is not easy by any means. Now, mind you, a little bit of a different roster, so maybe not as scary, but for all things considered, it's going to have to be some of your best Call of Duty that you've pretty much played throughout the entire season here for both of these guys, right? Like, you have to be coming in prepared, have to come in ready. I think with some of the maps that we did get here across both of the squads, I would imagine that there was probably some prep done here for as far as the vetoes that we do have. But overall, this is going to be, I think, a tough one for UTD COD Green. I mean, they have to come in here. They have to match the respawn pressure, have to be able to step up. And some of their star players that we've seen, pull off some of these performances throughout this entire season have to show up tonight.
Yeah, this is the number 12 team and number 13 team out of the Southwestern Division. And there is a bit of very recent history between these two squads because they just played each other at the end of the regular season, and it went the way of the Longhorn Gaming team out of Texas, 3-1, in which all of the respawns were pretty darn convincing through and through. So as we kind of turn our attention to focusing specifically on these two teams, let's start with UTD COD Green, because they've been in a bit of a weird situation overall. Of course, this is the second team overall for UT Dallas, but they have not been convincing anywhere when it comes down to the 3 separate modes that we've come to know and love here with Cold War. And I mean, yeah, they've got winning record when it comes to their hard point, but their average score differential is actually negative by a couple of points. That means that their wins are really, really close and their losses are typically pretty bad. That is where my attention goes first and foremost, I think, when it comes to UT Dallas, because again, when they just got done playing Longhorn Gaming in the last part of the regular season, they didn't do very well versus them.
You didn't do very well, and I guess like the big kind of takeaway is like you did get to at least review that matchup and be able to look at all the mistakes you were making and what you were kind of doing wrong, and you can look to at least make those fixes coming into it today, right? Like you can go back in theater, you can watch all those games over and over again to see, all right, this is how they were setting up, this is what they were doing on some of their favorite maps, this is what we need to do to try and stop that from happening. So I feel like that's maybe the one takeaway that you can look at for as far as playing them really recently, is that you might have had some notes on this team already, but
sure,
I mean, it's still tough because, as you've said, I mean, the score lines, the results that we've seen out of this UTD Green squad hasn't exactly been the greatest here, and they don't necessarily have one game mode that they can really rely on. So these first 2 maps that we have are just so pivotal that they come out with at least one of them, because this is also a squad, Longhorn Gaming here, really good at control for as far as what they have in that record. And well, we know when those teams are really good at that third game mode and how that can kind of shape up the best of 5 here. So those first 2 maps, Alan, they have to come away with one of them in my mind if they're going to have any shot in this series.
The thing about the map set, I'm glad that you had brought it up. You see it right there at the top of the screen. It's the same map set that they played just about a week ago. So you want to talk about having those corrections. You better have those corrections, because if you're coming through, if you're UTD COD Green and you have not improved, especially like we mentioned in those respawns, of which for Texas, they've been great at all year long. You mentioned their control record. You could say similar things about their hard point, though, as well. I mean,
Sure
nearly a
can.
75% win rate there, and their average differential is like plus 70 that they win on average when it comes to their hard points. So there's going to have to be a steep adjustment when it comes to what we see out of UT Dallas. Now, on the opposite side for the Longhorn gaming squad, this has been an interesting season for them through and through because early on, they had a pretty tough schedule playing up against the Dallas Orange squad and also going up against teams like Texas State. But the loss to Navarro College, I think, was what really kind of tilted our heads over to the Longhorn gaming team and said, okay, I don't know if they've got what it takes to get into that top cut for sure. But then when they got into the bottom cut for the second split, they went flawless. So there is a little bit of a learning differential, I feel like, as far as the potential that this Texas team has. It just comes down to, did they get good practice in that bottom cut to not just get through this UTD COD green squad again, but then also Texas A&M Maroon, who's going to be waiting for them.
That's always the question with a format that shapes out like this, when you just don't really know where they're rated at, right? Because of how the first half of the season had went. So we're kind of up in the air for as far as what we might get, Alan. But either way, the answers are about to come through here for us. Are they prepared? Are they ready? Do they have it in them to find some response? We're about to find out as we kick things off on Garrison Hardpoint.
And this Garrison Hardpoint, again, we talked about it just briefly there, just hit it out of the park. Again, all four of these maps were played between these two squads. It was a 250 to 134 win for the side of Texas when they last played. And already things looking very good for the Longhorns. A 2-for-1 exchange, make it 3, looking for the full wipe. But Wendy's does keep things interesting with the double. There will still be an opportunity for our boys in Burnt Orange to come through and get onto the point, but there will be an opportunity for UT Dallas to come through and recontest.
Sure will be. Just going to contest here. Back and forth we go. Velocity, one of the players I think to certainly watch out here for us. He is the captain of the team. He's got some crazy stats here for himself. And, well, he wielded that Craig 6 beautifully, and he's able to find himself in towards the mix pretty early on. Meanwhile, collecting the time, we got 2 Wavy here, who's been able to get just about all of it. But Velocity, he's focused on the spawns in towards the back. He's going to make his move. Should be an easy pickup, and it is. They make their way towards the back, but there is a crucial trade here. But the spawns, Alan, not in the favor of UTD COD Green, so we have to see a big play out of Wendy's.
And so far, so good. 4 kills in a row for him, 6 in 1 overall. Now, you mentioned the spawns. Obviously, you would like these if you're UT Dallas, but at the end of the day, it might not be the difference maker. If you can hold from the front, it might still be okay because you can essentially put a bit of a spawn trap into the Longhorns, but that will not occur. It's actually broken down just as simultaneously as I'm speaking it into existence. So, again, that Burn Orange will get onto the point, find themselves the break, and there's still 35 seconds to hold if you're Texas.
Spartan there finds the first kill. Now just blocking off the pushing towards the back here was a couple of the players for Longhorn Gaming. They are going to start to focus on towards the rotation while Wavy just controls the hill. 5 in a row for him. There is the trade. Lagging will find him for the for the kill there. So now you'll have UTD COD Green get the scrap time as well as even focus on towards the rotation towards B3. So actually a pretty good spot to be in. We'll see if they can in fact hold on to it. And with those kills coming through, this is maybe a spot for them to actually get some crucial time.
And Wendy's has been the one that's really done well so far for the Comets of UT Dallas, and that will continue to be the case. I mean, he's playing extremely well, 8-3 overall, and one of the big linchpins for success on some of these rotations. Keep your eye on Wallace from behind. Takes him a while to get the kill, but he still finds it. That means that the initial push for the Longhorns will be stalled. Corralled, if you will, if you're looking for a really nice little cow reference. I don't know. Steed. I don't know if you could really call it a cow, but I don't know. I'm talking to a Canadian. He's got no idea what I'm talking about. Spartan on the break will find 2 in a row. Velocity the third. That'll be the spawn break, and simultaneously the hard point will turn as well.
Oh, this is looking good up and towards the point where we did see Longhorn Gaming break in, but at least you're able to come away with a good chunk of time and not be broken on the first attempt. So that's when we look at when you're getting in towards these early rotations. So that's one big takeaway here for them. But we start to look towards our next hill here, P4. It's going to be Velocity up top. He's able to play his life and actually take the high ground away. He drops down, finds Wendy's for 1, challenges the second, but it's going to be Magic Bear inside the hill there for the trade. So early setup here again for UTD COD Green. Just a matter of how many points can they come away with here, and can they shut down push after push?
And, you know, one of the things we talked about this a lot during the Challengers Cup that we just got out of doing on the weekend was, you know, getting 40-20 exchanges if you're Texas is fine, right? I mean, if you're giving away the opening 20, but you're breaking like they're doing right now and then securing the back 40, you're eventually going to win the game. So yes, a lot of pressure on the Comets from Dallas to really come through and make sure once they get these rotations locked in, that they're not just holding the initial 20. They've got to start holding 40, 45, maybe even finding full 60s when we get back to those money hills on our second rotation, because even though you're only down 30, the trends of this game is still favoring that of the Longhorns.
Wallace trying to block off the rotation. Big double up here. That's going to stop things down considerably for the side of Longhorn Gaming. And now it's up to Velocity to try and make a big play, as he's actually found himself inside of the point. Does get a challenge there to Wallace Mod. Easy pickup for him. 2 in a row, as that is going to be a clean feed for Longhorn Gaming. Looking solid, but have to still get in towards the hill and find the control inside. Dark Spartan is there, finds himself the pickup. His teammates now right behind as the reinforcements try to pour on in, but UTD COD Green holding on to the time at the moment.
Yeah, you've got to be able to push back this hit, though, from Texas, because they're already gaining life. It's going to be a really nice avenue for them to try to open up some space while they try to get into the hard point. Wavy will jump through. Doesn't really have the luxury of doing so, you would think, considering the fact that he is by himself, but Spartan locking things down to his right. Good for 2, runs out of ammunition. Not going to find the third, and eventually the Comets will find favorable trades. With 25 seconds to play, they step on for what will hopefully be scrap time to keep this game tight. Wallace, good damage, no kills. Can Magic find a way to convert? It looks like the answer should be yes, but a couple of Longhorns sneak on in, and it comes down to Wendy's to double up, and how clutch has I Love Wendy's been. Getting that 5-for-5 deal going through. Frosty on the side doesn't seem to make much of a difference what he's picking up, because he's finding frags all over the place.
Well, we go in towards the reset here, and I think the one takeaway is that UTD COD, I mean, they're not down by too much. And not only that, but they're actually on towards the time here first. So the fact that Longhorn Gaming are as good as they are at hardpoint, and they don't necessarily have a massive lead that they're running away with, is good news here, because you can look to lock down some of these money hills and still get back in towards the game. But that, however, is not good news, as we'll have to see UTD COD Green now make themselves out of the spawn, while also pouring a bit of pressure in towards this hill, which is a good 30 seconds to collect. And Velocity, of course, realizing this, 18 kills to his name. He's been lighting things up on another spree. Right behind him, have a 4 spree here. So streaks could be a factor as we look towards this rotation towards new here very soon.
And the lockdown is really coming through here for Texas. It's been a minute since they've been the first team to a hardpoint that they've been able to successfully zone. And you're seeing exactly the damage that can be dealt when they get gifted the opportunity to make good on a rotation. Scrap time will be conceded in favor of the rotation now over to the satellite truck. But once again, there will be members for Dallas that are able to keep things interesting. And beyond that, it's actually Wallace who stays alive 3 in a row for him. He's got help right in front. You see them try to push forward for spawn, try to correct their mistakes from the prior time they were here, but it's not going to be enough. Velocity holding his life, now coming through to pinch, and a beautiful take of the hard point for the Longhorns.
This has happened a couple of times, and I mean, this one's really going to hurt you, because you can't afford to give over this time. There has to be a break. You have to keep it at least a bit scrappy, and not only that, but Velocity has great control over the middle of the map. He's going to find one. Maybe in a world he's able to kind of 180 there and pull off the second. We're closer and closer towards streaks, but they have at least shut down a lot of the sprees. But the time is really where you're looking to get into, and that just is not really a possibility at the moment. Spawn's even going to flip out in towards the back here. Lagging does get there for the back 10, but you now have to make your way across the map and somehow keep Longhorn Gaming off of the hill.
This is tough. It's a really tall ask. No streaks to play with. That would make life much easier for sure. But look at that front line for the Longhorns. Right from north to south, across that opening ammo position, right through these green walls. Nice little cleanup here, though. This will open up some space for Dallas to work with. But the problem is you still have to go so far, and Spartan is watching from garage. Tools being good picked up by Wavy. We'll find the first, second around the corner. Good patience, but can't make good on it. But it's going to be all right. Hungover comes through, finds elimination, and things stay safe here for the orange and white of Texas.
I mean, the first 30 seconds, it's gone over and no one's gotten towards the hill, so you can feel this. This is desperation now, where you feel like you might need to make a heroic moment. You don't exactly wait for all your teammates to get in towards the point, and time is still ticking away here in favor of Longhorn Gaming. Over 200 points, a chance to even close this one out, as they've played the last 3 hills here, Alan, perfectly, not giving over really any time except for a scrap off the last one. So this is a really good position to be in, and you feel like if UTD COD got any hope in coming back in towards this one, it's got to happen now. And maybe Wallace's play could have got it done, but he's only able to find one. But they are at least in the time first.
Yeah, got to go back to what we were talking about last year at this hard point, where we were talking about that 40-20 exchange that was happening for Texas. That's been no longer the case because they've been better on rotation. They've been the ones to get initially set up for both the second and the third hard point. This is the only time so far, really, in this rotation that they're without the initial setup. But the break attempts have been so good for Texas. One more of those to potentially put the game away. 35 seconds on the hard point for now. Dallas will eventually lose all of their members in and around the hard point. So they will be bounced out. There is enough time here still for them to win this game. And there's going to have to be a break to come through. It's going to have to be through top green Magic for the first. But Hungover, with a little bit of help, is doing well to stay alive. But a bit of a pinch situation due to the spawns. Too wavy. Maybe just a bit of it too slippery as he's able to find one nearly a second. But the break will be good. And the Longhorns will just have to try to find a way to win the game off the next hard point as there's not enough time here.
Yeah, they'll live to see at least one more hill, but it's still not going to be easy by any means. I mean, down by so much, and Longhorn Gaming, a chance to lock this one up here, right in towards the last hill. Wavy's got control of the middle of the map. You'll find himself a kill right behind lagging. Easy pickup, no contest. Longhorn Gaming living up to their name for as far as the respawns as they close this one out, 250 to 141.
I mean, what, 7-point difference between the last time these guys played and week 9 of Split 2, so pretty much a copy-paste results. So maybe some of the things that we were kind of hoping to see from UT Dallas Green not really coming through for them. And that's going to be problematic if that holds true for the rest of this series, because if you're joining us here late, these two teams squared off against each other in the second split, bottom cut of the Southwest region, looking to qualify for playoffs. And well, it was a 3-1 advantage for the Longhorn side of things, in which they dominated all the respawns. Now, if history were to continue to repeat itself, that would lead to good news coming up for the Search and Destroy, because it was a 6-0 wipe off the floor last time in favor of UT Texas at Dallas on Raid Search and Destroy. So they're hoping they can repeat history on a more positive side this time coming up for map number 2.
That's right. This is the map that they actually have a good amount of experience on. And this is really the one I think I was looking at when this map pool had come through. And I was like, all right, this is the map that they have to be able to take here.
Agreed.
Now, I think the flip side is that they are going to be able to kind of look over, a similar situation where they can kind of look at what mistakes they were making the last time they played it, right? Because that's kind of one of the factors that you have yourself. And really, I think the most important thing about S&D when you're playing against teams is you can go back in a theater and you can kind of watch it, all the spots and how they're playing, and be able to break that down. So that's something that you have here, at least for yourself. But this is a pivotal map here for Dallas to come away with. And this is, I think, the only real weak point, if you were to kind of pick out one of the three, that this Longhorn squad does in fact have. So you have to convert. You have to execute. And if you can do what you did last time, well, then that's looking pretty good, as you can maybe look to kind of carry out some of the S&Ds in the series if you can just take one of the respawns.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback on your sentiment when it comes to Texas overall, 9-7 on the map, but they've only played a single map 5 in the regular season. So that means they're losing a lot of map 2s when it comes to playing up against opponents that they need to start beating if they want to have a chance at making it through playoffs. Beyond that, even teams that they are finding a way to beat 3-1, they're losing that map number 2. So that definitely would be kind of a focus point if you're looking at this from the Longhorn side of thing and sit there and say, how can this team be not just good enough to get past this matchup, but then also versus Texas A&M Maroon? They're still waiting there, by the way. You've got to be better at Search and Destroy. So not a lot of turnaround between week 9 and here in the regional qualifiers. It's about a week and a half or so. And you're hoping that that was enough time to get back to the lab, look over some things, and get back into the favorable situation to where you can go up against these more difficult opponents and start to take more rounds, if not more maps overall when it comes to the Search.
It's definitely the goal. And coming away with it, looking to shut down some of these players. I mean, Velocity just came off a really hot map as well. I mean, looking at Wavy, what he was doing with some of the objective time. So you have a lot of players that are kind of coming off here pretty hot. So the faster they get into it, the better here for themselves, as they might be able to carry that on through and maybe even just look to kind of put UTD down as fast as possible. Don't give them a chance to have any life, because this is, a squad that is also, like you said, Alan, they want to get in towards that playoff bracket. They got to go through a couple of top teams, but well, there's something that we know, especially after what just happened there for CDL. If a team can show up on the day, they could run all the way through and find themselves some wins. So you can't count them out by any means, but we need to see some of their star players start to step up here heading in towards the second map.
It has to be sooner rather than later. I mean, obviously, last day to potentially get into that playoffs. Yes, we're technically in the postseason, but sitting there and saying, we're CCL postseason squad versus we're a CCL playoff team is very, very different, considering that we're still trying to qualify so many teams to get into that 64-team double elimination bracket. Now, for all of you people that might be just joining in here a touch late, That's coming up this week. We've got Friday, Saturday, and
right.
Sunday, full days worth of the round of 64 and round of 32 on Friday. We go through just about almost everything else on Saturday. That'll leave us with the lower semifinals, lower finals, winners finals, and grand finals. Those 4 matches on Sunday. So you're not going to want to miss that. If you're new to the college COD scene, you're about to find out real darn quick, and you get a little bit of an appetizer here this evening. Just waiting on our teams to start things up overall. Just to kind of remind you on the schedule, yes, we keep mentioning that the winner of this matchup will go up to play against Texas A&M Maroon, but our broadcast coverage will actually go north of the Red River into Oklahoma when we watch the Crimson squad take on either Oklahoma State or Tulsa. So we've got a pretty big battle up there in the Sooner State. All these things mean nothing to you, I'm realizing. Like, as the Canadian, you don't know any
totally
of these
know all
things.
these colleges and universities,
Yeah,
of course.
that's right.
Every single one, you know?
Yeah, Red River. Yeah, Sooner State. All those things. Have you seen the musical Oklahoma?
I don't think so. I'm sorry, Alan.
That's right. It's not. It's
Did I
okay.
disappoint
It's
you?
old.
Did I
It's
disappoint
very
you on the
dated.
night? We're having a good time. That killed
It's
the vibe.
fine. No one's mad about that. It's
All right,
just
it's
okay.
good.
It's a classic
okay.
though. Timeless classic. Speaking of timeless classic, how about some Raid? Like that segue?
I love that.
Glad
I
to
could
hear.
handle all the raid in the world. You know I'd be happy.
So true. Well, again, last time we were here between these two squads just about a week and a half ago, UT Dallas 6-0. Good start here with first blood from lagging. Magic Bear, I think he's recognizing that Hungover is right around the statue. We'll find one elimination. Not a lot of damage into Hungover either, so Lagging's got to find a full valued kill, and he will. So 3v2 situation for the offense. Now down to Wallace. Not sure how he doesn't find that last kill, but Wavy survives with 12 HP, and that will mean that he's going to have to try to clutch up this 1v2.
And he has a 74U to do it as well, which is not the ideal weapon when you're talking about trying to get inside of ring when you have top laundry, top art, a lot of areas to kind of work around when pressing on through. But Wavy's going to try to get it done. Already a kill in the round. Can he come away with 2 more? Good timing on towards 1. Just has to bring home the kill, and that's just a nice disciplined play. Has to take a challenge, and well, that exact power position I talked about, top laundry, tough battle from range, and that's going to be a great opening round coming through here for Dallas.
Yeah, first blood is absolutely beautiful. I mean, this is the only angle that Lagging is really paying attention to. Really no consideration over to the right because there were 2 other comets that were playing over through Zig, so you don't have to worry about those pillars or obviously the art push through from your flank. So I really like that opening setup from Dallas. It gets Lagging the opportunity to build on 3-0 start with a bomb plant. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If he has a successful round here, we would start kind of inserting streaks into the conversation. But for the Longhorns, full stack really coming through the middle of the map. Wallace very fortunate to stay alive, but meanwhile over towards B, Lagging does fall. So it's a 2v4 situation. Wendy's lineup, no. Only able to find 1, and it leaves now Wallace required for a 1v3.
Bomb's just about to go down as he's getting in towards kitchen. So a doable round for sure, but does not check his right. So he's taken down to about 45 HP. Position going to be known. Has to take a challenge. Challenge comes, no problem. Velocity holding the angle will come out there. So we'll go in towards round number 2. Longhorn Gaming. They'll get themselves around this time around. And well, on top of it, pretty clean one at that.
Yeah, very clean one. Again, it's a 3-man hit through the middle of the map, and 2 Wavy, who was playing an art. You see that right there from his kill cam. He was just kind of throwing a shoulder to see what was happening over towards the B side. Cox away with a second kill. So good stuff there from the Longhorns, kind of flooding and stampeding through the middle of the map, I guess. Have you seen a picture of a Longhorn, Austin? Do you know what we're dealing with here with this imagery of what a Longhorn is?
I think so.
It's like a big cow with huge horns.
Yeah, okay.
They've got long horns in case the
Is that what it is?
Hungover and Velocity able to hook up 2. That will be good for another 4v2 situation, but this time it's for the defense of Texas. Now it again comes down to Wallace. This would be a 1v4 situation, but he's got no bomb to work with, which is problematic to be sure.
Yeah, it really is. If he can come away with a kill or 2, I mean, that's almost his best case scenario. Does invest the trophy, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with, but hey, maybe he knows something I don't. Second challenge comes through. He's just waiting for a clean gunfight, and he's not getting one. Everyone collapsing slowly, but there is one. Second one, maybe if he was centering correctly and got the gun up fast enough, might have been able to bring home the 2-piece, but not the case. Longhorn Gaming starting to get a nice hold on towards this map number 2. They come away with back-to-back rounds.
Yeah, back-to-back first bloods as well, which is great news because this was the same angle that Lagging was able to take down Velocity from round number 1. Changes up his approach, and he walks away with the first 2 kills right around the statue. So really good stuff for at least a small minor adjustment from the individual Velocity, who's now on 3 in a row. And for Dallas, you almost feel like a defense would be required to come through here.
Yeah.
You don't want to let 3 rounds in a row go. That would not do well for the karma and the mindset that you're kind of building.
Velocity shots coming through. He's been taking a lot of these initial challenges, and, well, it's been pretty good so far. Nice little 3-in-1 stat line for him. As Wallace has got the middle of the map covered here. Magic Bear going to make a play through Zig, but they find a kill. And now look at how difficult this is right now. Longhorn Gaming just caught in behind the pool house, and the bomb's down out front. You have to make a move either by pressing forward towards A or grabbing the bomb and backtracking or going to the middle of the map here. So you got about 50 seconds left. Finding a pick is ideal to kind of make this play happen.
Yeah, and I'm really looking at Wavy to be that guy to kind of find a start to this potential play. 40 seconds. He has found a trade back kill, so it's 3v3, and Wallace is really not going to be able to see too much. Now, you got to keep in mind that based off his position, he could flank behind this post plant at A, which should be known now. Wendy's is hoping for a right side peek, but he's going to get taken out from behind. No one expects that Wavy is pushed through that far, and Wallace kind of biding his time, maybe biding it a little bit too long, because now all of a sudden, he has to sneak his way forward, and oh man, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish that he just would have stuck for that. But he does find a mantle kill over the top of the Tiki bar, so that's good for a first. Knows that Velocity's playing deep, trying to chase him down, but there was help from behind, and the Longhorns will take 3 rounds in a row to go up 3-1.
Yeah, I think Dallas is just playing that too passive when you have a man advantage, right? I mean, you don't necessarily know if the bomb's down in front of the pool house, but it feels like you should be able to take away, you know, more of the map when you know the majority of the players are in the pool house. So keeping someone shouldering inside of Tiki, or, you know, just kind of putting themselves maybe even open stairs while you have Wallace towards the middle of the map, is just giving you more control and, well, easier to play out the trades as well, because a lot of isolated gunfights came through with no trades. So that is a tough round there. UTD with the first blood not coming away with the round. Now Longhorn Gaming with 3 in a row, looking to make it 4. Offense for UTD. They make their way over towards Ring. No kills come through just yet, but that bomb pushing up towards B here slowly but surely.
But there is potential here if Dallas can read the setup. They could maybe isolate these couple of Longhorn members in the middle of the map, but now help is starting to come. Wavy, number 6 on your mini map, is pushed kind of beyond the A site. And you can almost feel like the Longhorns are assuming that this is going to be happening over towards B. Right now, a lot of the focus is through the middle of the map. And honestly, the best play available for Dallas is to actually use this position at Laundry for a potential post plant. And that could come through now as Velocity has dropped.
This is a big round. You need to be able to clutch this one up, get the bomb down, get Laundry control. I feel like these players by art, they're literally too split, but maybe the gunfights will come through. Wendy's able to grab one. He's not anticipating the second to come from middle, so trade there. And now 3 versus 2. Bomb is down. Wallace, he's got his teammate with him. They should be able to bait and switch that, and they do, leaving it all up to Spartan, who's only got a 74U with about 30 seconds left.
This is going to be really tough for Spartan. With the post plant through Laundry, he's going to have to win a long-range gunfight and then probably respond to somebody absolutely up close and personal. And, well, there it was. Double peeking right over the top of the van and through the bottom side of the Rocks by statue. We're 2 Comet members, and that would be enough for the final kill to keep things relatively close. 1 round differential now all of a sudden. A required round, I think we would probably both agree, from the side of Dallas. You just don't want to drop 4 in a row and be down 3 looking at a 4-1 scoreline. So a nice bounce back. Even beyond that, finding success enough on the offense to get their first bomb plant is also very nice.
Required round, but I will say UTD doesn't look very comfortable for the amount of times that they've actually won this raid search and destroy, right? And you have to wonder, is the pressure of having to win this match to stay alive getting to them at the moment? Time is only going to tell, but we'll switch sides. Longhorn Gaming taking 3 in a row and finally being stopped, looking to see if they can maybe get that rolling again. Shots come through there. Wavy, not going to land too many of them, but we'll spot out 1. You got Magic Bear, who's in a very nice spot, but it looks like this hit might come through the middle of the map right now. An opening, they can decide to push in towards kitchen. They can go open stairs. So a couple of options right now for Longhorn Gaming.
And Wallace is by himself. He's not going to have the ability to have anyone for his trade, so he's got to find at least 1 kill. Almost finds the second. Velocity does gain possession over through Money. Nice rotation over from Wendy's. He was playing the backside of basketball. That'll do well to keep things with a Dallas defensive advantage. To Wavy, maybe thinking about trying to get a plant off. And he will be able to get this down. Wendy's sees Spartan tagged extremely heavily, but there will not be the ability to capitalize on the kill itself. So Lagan's going to come through, help the middle of the map, and then the long flank from Magic Bear. He might have the angle completely, unless he doesn't see Spartan underneath. Not going to make a difference. Wendy's from the opposite angle able to take him down. Just comes down to Wavy, and he is stuck with a backlog of orders in the Tiki Bar, and that'll be enough for UTD COD Green to tie things up at 3.
That's a lot better. I mean, that was a beautiful retake. Everyone just waited for Magic Bear to make his plays. So he's absolutely calming. Guys, do not challenge, do not push, hold a pre-aim. I'm making the flank play. And then we get to see that kind of take place here as Wendy's finds that kill. This now isolates Wavy, who's forced to challenge, and he's already tagged up. So it's an easy trade that follows. And they're able to retake that site, come away with back-to-back rounds now for themselves as things are all tied up here 3-3.
Big swing around. Really, the only thing we're waiting on now is to see if Magic Bear can get a kill. That's really the only thing that we're really kind of desiring, I feel like, if you're looking at that from Dallas's POV. But what will be the response here from the Longhorns? They've been playing this kind of spread out defense almost every single round. And look at Dallas getting aggressive here over towards the A site. Looking for a plant. Spartan wants to deny it, sees a toe, but the help is incredible. Bomb gets planted. Nobody falls from the Comet's POV. Velocity trying to play off of a flank, also turned aside. 2v4 situation, but watch out for Hungover on the flank.
What can he find here? This first kill is good. Taken down to 45 HP, though, so has the regen here for a quick moment, and now he's lost his teammate. Wavy out of the picture. Would have to be a complete ace. Wendy's doesn't need to give him the full chow. Just throw shoulders. Only 19 seconds left. Work the clock, and there is the trade. So Dallas finally stepping up, cleaning up the gameplay, looking a lot more confident on some of the play calls that they're doing, and they're doing them together as they come away with another round.
Yeah, wow, goodness. This is probably more resemblant of how they found the 6-0 versus this Texas team just a couple of weeks ago, right? I mean, I 100% agree with you that the confidence just felt a little shaky when it came to how Dallas were trying to not just kind of lock down defensively, but also their executes kind of felt like they were, you know, stepping on thin ice a little bit. Like, is it safe enough? But that time, get the read, make the hard push onto A, get the bomb down, very successful. So once again, we turn our attention over to the Longhorns to see what they have in store for this next offensive hit. 3-man push for the first time over towards the B statue. Hungover, great for the first. Reads that Lagans up top. And that'll be really beautiful for the team shots. Velocity credited with the kill, and everything comes down to Wendy's, who does not get the better as well of Velocity at long range through pillars. And once again, we're tied, this time at 4, though.
And that's just the mechanics of this player. I mean, Velocity, right? He's the captain of the team. He's got a nasty stat line across all 3 game modes, and well, in this one, 2.44 in S&D right there, showing us why. Finding a nice little 3K there in the final kill cam to be able to bring home a round, a crucial one. We talk about having that one to tie it up and not being down 5-3 and finding 3 in a row. That's not the situation you want to be in, and we're able to again tie things up, keep this raid search and destroy extremely close and back and forth.
Opening shots and opening Semtex nearly takes down Hungover, but he stays alive, takes a second challenge versus Wendy's. Magic Bear, he's really heated things up in the last couple of rounds. 3 and 6 from 0 and 4.
Ooh.
But he still falls. Wallace, oh, he just walked into the devil's den right here. Players all over him. And the Longhorns will take 2 in a row again. It feels like there's a bit of extra proactivity being established here for Texas.
There really is. I mean, this kill here from Wavy as well, just coming away with it. Don't know if he had to jump shot necessarily, but he does it anyway and is able to come away with the double kill. And that's what gives him the man advantage. And I mean, that's also a lot of rounds where we've seen Wallace caught in a 1v3 situation or 1v2, right? It's felt like at least 3 of them so far. So maybe not getting involved in the play as much, or used to being more of the island man for his squad. He's putting him in some of these tough situations. Now a must-win round here. Remember, Dallas really need to come away with this map. And Magic Bear, he's going to pour on the pressure, but Wavy says no. Puts him on 3 in a row and finds first blood.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough help there for that push through to come through so fast. I mean, Wallace is nearby, but that is usually when we see that at the higher levels, a double chow, right? Someone slides in, other person peeks, they try to double up on the player sitting in the art hallway. It's not the case, but even with that first blood not going in the favor of Dallas, they still respond 3v3, but now Lagan's about to be potentially overwhelmed. Sees one in the corner for free, finds the kill, stays alive, almost able to get the second, but Hungover will respond for the trade, and we go 2v2. But the problem here, really, for the Longhorns is that they're kind of trapped over by Laundry at the moment.
Yeah, they have to make a decision. Do we press forward and get a plant down, or do we backtrack? And now that answer might just come. They might look to try and get over towards A, knowing they don't have ring control and it can be difficult to retake. And Wendy's has the cross through Kitchen, but Wallace, very low, taken down to 10 HP. But 15 seconds left. The commitment is going to be towards B. Hungover, going to try to get that bomb down. It's going to have to be Velocity who looks over him, and well, he's lost his bomb planter. Has to be a 1v2. The challenge comes. It's close, Alan, but no kill for Velocity. We will see around 11 for map 2.
I don't know if you can hear my gasp, but my heart just sunk. I was like, don't peek at Wendy's. He got the bomb carrier down. Just let the clock run out. Secure yourself the round to get to the 11th. But goodness, that could have been a candidate for Had Bad if he loses that gunfight at the end. I'm just saying.
It might have been. It would have been, actually.
Yeah, okay. I was looking for your reaffirmation of that because I would have wanted to put that there. But we transition to round 11. It'll be a UT Dallas offense, and they're looking to go quick. But this is a little bit of a head fake because they're not going to instantly plant. Look at the setup. 3 players in and around the bedroom. Magic Bear tagged down initially. Peeks. No. Oh, yeah. Does find the first blood. Thought for a second Spartan might stay alive, but Dallas with numbers around A, but even still a bit shaky. Knees knocking a little bit. Not going to go for the full plant yet, but the good news is that Wallace finds the second kill, and for the Longhorns, they are banking on this long flank for the 2v4 retake.
Have to win this first initial gunfight right here up top. Lagging, takes the challenge, finds one. That's all he had to do, but Velocity coming away with 2. The captain of the team, we've hyped him up quite a few times. He's had a strong performance, 12-6. A very doable 1 versus 4 here for himself, but he's got to start to move pretty quickly. Looking down at about 20 seconds left here on this clock. Submachine gun in his hand. Wendy's gives him the challenge. The confidence there. UTD, they make the comeback and they tie up the series.
Required map win, and it came down to maybe almost one poor challenge from Wendy's that almost cost them the map, but he wins the gunfight, so I can't harp on the guy. He wins the gunfight, gets it to around 11, and I love that from Dallas. Pending they get through this UT squad, I want to see more of that. I want to see them try to get a little bit more aggressive, have the confidence, get forward. You've got first blood. Only thing I really was missing from that round was just get the bomb planted a bit faster once you get that first kill on that guy outside B. I mean, that's the really only thing you could really ask for at that point. But hey, it's a close one. It's a tight one. Not nearly the 6-0 that happened last time they played each other. But regardless, the series stays 1-1. We're going to be setting things over to a break. We'll give you more of a recap and, of course, a setup for the raid control coming from map number 3. So do not go anywhere. We've got more regional qualifiers here for College COD right after this. Little live look at what's happening over on College COD Bravo. St. Ambrose playing up against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. You can find that at twitch.tv/College COD Bravo. But getting back into the mix here for what we have on store in the Southwestern region between UT Dallas and University of Texas at Austin. So many Texas schools affiliated with the University of Texas. It's kind of hard to keep track of, especially, I'm sure, for you, the Canadian.
Yeah.
Probably like, what are with all these schools in Texas? Just have 2, why don't you?
Yeah, I think that's interesting. That's like the difference. Here we don't have like University of Ontario or something like that. It's like, I don't know, they're always named after something. So like when I hear like University of Texas and I see like 20 schools pop up, I'm like, all right. it's a lot to take in. But yeah, it's a good matchup we have right now, Alan. And I think it's nice to see that we did get to see some resilience out of this squad that is certainly the underdogs. UTD fighting back, and well, they have a lot more fighting to do because we talked about it. The response is where they need to find a win, and they still have 2 more chances to at least come away with one.
It's very true, but the problem, as you framed up at the very beginning of the show, was the fact that this Longhorns gaming squad really good at control. And the last time they played, again, this is the same map set that they played from week number 9. It was a 3-1 result on raid control in favor of the Longhorns. So again, we keep talking about it. It's easy for us to say, but it is important. It's the linchpin of this entire series for UT Dallas. you've got to find those corrections. You have to adapt. You have to come through looking better than we did prior. And so far, history has not really shown us that that's been the case. If anything, we could look at the results and say that Texas has gotten a bit better, going from being 0-6 on the raid, search, and destroy to being able to set it to around 11, where they were realistically only a kill away from actually taking the map. So
True.
Again, we kind of tilt our attention over to the Dallas Comets and sit there and say, you've got to find some way to show us that you're actually improved from when you last played this team. Otherwise, as history often does, it will likely repeat itself. So I don't mean to paint a negative picture, but we're getting ready to go here for that raid control. We'll learn a lot to see what's happened. I'm not actually sure if the rule set has stipulated that these guys will be playing on the updated patch with each segment adding 20 seconds or not. We're kind of both surprised to see the North American Open was playing off that rule set. So we'll find out pretty quickly here if that will be the case here in College COD.
Yeah, we sure will. And pending whether or not this will be defended, we're about to find out here maybe in a couple of seconds. But with the white coming in towards the kill feed, looking pretty good so far for the side of Dallas. But they are able to respond back with some kills of their own. And as we see the clock at the moment, doesn't look like any extra time is coming through. So we are playing on the old patch. And well, as we take a look at the game state as well, it might just be the full zone captured early.
Yeah, 20 seconds per segment, or just capture the whole thing and just add the 60. So neither here nor there, apparently, for the Longhorns. They even had a member slip over towards the B zone, but that was dealt with by UT Dallas. And even beyond that, Magic Bear, really nice push through over towards Bedroom. He's going to be a big problem for Texas to deal with. And we have, okay, there we go. Just a little bit of a freeze and then back. I'm not sure if that was my internet or sports, but we're good. And for UT Dallas, yeah, you've got some good forward position, but the Longhorns are in your spawn, so you're going to have to deal with velocity sooner rather than later on 5 in a row.
Oh, he hasn't died. Velocity for 6. Just electric with the shot at the moment. A pivotal kill, but I mean, look at the damage. They're already on B, but Wallace says, well, I got a 3-piece of my own, but just falls short. Gets 2, but sets up the last one. So a big heroic moment there for Wallace to make sure that that zone does not come through with more than 1 tick.
We'll see what happens here, as the Longhorns still have the ability to use the middle of the map, at least until Wallace takes care of it. So down to a minute 25, lives are dead even until Spartan is able to change that with a Semtex, and maybe another reads Wendy's, finds the second elimination. Now all of a sudden, you just got to try to find a way to get through the Tiki Bar, and you might be onto this B zone. 2 Wavy, though, pushing forward, gets himself a second elimination. Wendy's will be the one really responsible for holding on, but hungover, cooking up something in the kitchen, will find at least the trade elimination, which will allow the Longhorns to get onto the zone for a potential second tick of progress, and Magic Bear is only able to find one of what would needed to been 2 kills.
They're playing defense, but they're also pretty low on lives at the moment as well. 6 to 11. Have to get them off the zone, and velocity might not even give you the chance. Just on another spree, They stack it. Very convincing offensive round here. The Longhorns coming off that last map, not even sweating. Going back towards their good game mode in control here, Alan. Looking solid, coming away with the first round.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Good stuff. And it all starts here with velocity. I mean, after the A zone's captured, for him to go on this spree, and honestly, if he just holds the trigger there, he may have caught the one spawning up right in front of him. But regardless of that, for him to be that much of a nuisance in the back line, it just puts so much pressure on Dallas's defense, which, to be fair, they do nicely to correct themselves and kind of recontest the middle of the map. But in the end, the Longhorns using that extra slaying prowess to really kind of take over at the end.
Oh, and Velocity actually did get a streak, so it was probably the capture on the zone mixed with that 6 spree that allowed him to at least have the artillery. So that is something to keep in your minds here for as far as how this map might go. And, well, Wavy is able to come in from behind, does actually find a couple of kills, slows things down there for a quick moment. Magic Bear also just needs to check his right. He's got a kill. Instead, it's Velocity who checks his. He comes up with the kill. Now just a one-on-one on the hill. Hangover brings it home, and now it's also Wavy backing towards the mix. Art, they just can't really get out on towards the map here together, and this is another spree you now have to worry about.
And just look at number 2. Spartan is just locking things down at Bedroom. It's going to put a lot of chaos into Dallas's spawns. This is not what you want to see if you're a UTD fan right now. Spartan changing up the angle, looking for some timing off the staircase. Good for 1. Nearly gets the second. Lagging doesn't actually commit to the gunfight. So Spartan will get a reload and a regen off, and that's not good either for UT Dallas. So 26 playing up against 17, and I just don't know what you do from here if you're Dallas. You got to find a way to get out of this A zone. That's really your only bank of approach, but to make up what is a 9-life deficit with only 30 seconds is a tall ask.
Very tall ask, and it's not getting any easier anytime soon. I mean, you can just go and play hide and seek at this point in time, but Wallace does get a nice little turn on towards Wavy. But will it matter? It looks like there will finally be a push towards B. So the more difficult zone will be attacked. This kitchen kill, big for Wallace, finds himself now on 4 straight. So this is maybe one of the factors to being able to get back in towards this one. And Wallace still slaying out, almost finds the double up. He will get cut down, but B under pressure, and it might just be the zone going over.
Yeah, if he grabs that second kill right through that money doorway, that isn't just the zone. There's potential for streaks, and you could potentially still lock down this A zone, because think about how valuable those streaks could have been to maybe even not just reduce the life deficit, but to get on to A. So it's going to still be a problem, because look at the setup now for Texas. 2 players over in and around the art, 2 more back through jungle and kitchen. This is really not a good avenue of approach whatsoever for Dallas with only 7 lives.
Big gunfight in the back. Wallace does bring it home. So they'll try and make a push happen, but now only down to 5. And when you just can't get your reinforcements towards the point, even if you are hitting this flank right now, it might not even matter. Velocity for 1. Now need to see a play from lagging. Does not anticipate maybe the player behind him. He does in fact do so at the last second. Brings home the kill, almost the second, but Velocity there, still holding his ground. And the final lives are here. Magic Bear and Wallace would have to pull off one heck of a control play. And there was just not really any time or any reinforcements to do it.
If that little spree they were able to put together through the middle of the map and over towards B happened, 15, 20 seconds sooner, there would have been a pretty good opportunity to actually turn this second round into their favor. Because simply put, if you can just clear off Art, think about how simple it could be at times to get that driveway spawn and then just full stack onto the A zone. I mean, one good stack could potentially still give you an offensive win, but the time was not great, and the life differential was a little bit too steep. You know, a lot of it comes through plays like this where Wavy was just dancing in between Art and Zig. You saw Spartan there kind of on the kill cam, holding over towards bedroom. There just wasn't a good opportunity for Dallas to get out of their spawn in the first place.
And it's not easy too when you're Dallas and you're going up against, someone who's dropping score lines like this. When you think of someone like Velocity, who is a 3.0 KD at the moment, is 21 kills to his name. I mean, it is just such a difficult hurdle to really climb. And we're starting to see how that's played an effect. 2-0 up, Longhorn Gaming, maybe looking for a 3-0 here in the control. Wallace, been in this position before, cuts the middle of the map. Shots are there. Magic Bear also finding the second. And we'll see Velocity push all the way through, snaps for it, turns and predicts, but Wallace with the 74U, clean shots, takes the head right off Velocity. Wendy's follows up with a second as well, so they'll keep the push at bay. Wavy will get the trade, but they don't have all the numbers to push on through just yet.
Yeah, and they're continuing to be contested up the middle of the map, which is a bit difficult. But this feels very similar to round number 1, where Wavy's got an opportunity to play through kitchen. He's doing this very wisely, waiting for someone to hit a flank. There it is. Now the opportunity to go. That is just really heads-up discipline from Wavy. I feel like a lot of people in that situation, whether it's league play or you're trying to put together an amateur team, they would just go and try to hit that. But he knows that with the timing, there's going to be a potential play for a flank. Waits again inside of money. That's 4 in a row. Last player to contest is Wallace. He will not do much, if anything, as Wavy finds the kill, and that'll be the B zone converted for the Longhorns, up 23-18 in the lives as well.
Another spree for Wavy. I mean, just such an impactful play that is made to be able to make sure they get the unfavored zone, and they have plenty of time as well as a life lead to be able to now work towards the second zone at A. Spartan on the cross, does slip away. Trophy system goes down. We got hung over in towards the back, waiting to make that move. And well, on the mini-map, no one's actually watching it. They're all focused on the front, so easy pickup for Wavy. He's now on 7 in a row. Streaks are just flooding on through. The control is in. They're going to stack the zone. And well, this is just textbook control gameplay out of Longhorn Gaming as they look to be all locked and loaded and good as the streaks come raining in for the victory.
And it should be there in just a matter of time. Magic Bear does find one, but the cruise missile finding the triple. Oh, baby, a triple. Longhorn Gaming 3-0 overall in the control. That'll put them up 2-1 overall in the series, heading to what will eventually be a checkmate hardpoint.
I mean, hey, I'd love to say it gets easier from here, but it doesn't. And usually when you're looking at, an overall map set, you could say, all right, they got the best of them on raid, or rather on Garrison, but Garrison, they're flawless on. So that's great. It's okay. We're going to go to the second map. Well, bad news. Second map, 6-1 on checkmate hardpoint. So you have to be able to show up here. I think that's really the big factor, is that if you're going to come away with a series win, I mean, that comes off the back end of getting it towards a second S&D. So your only chance of that is coming away with this win right here in towards the hard point. It is possible. They're 4-4, so they have experienced some success on towards this map here, but you feel like they have to match the AR pressure. And with the way Velocity's been playing thus far, Alan, that is just not looking ideal, at least at the moment.
Yeah, it's one of those things that unless there's a response there, it almost feels like the map itself is going to be out of reach because of the map that we're going to. Last that these two teams played, again, like we mentioned a couple of different times, this is a copy-paste map set from when they had priorly played in week 9 of split number 2 in the bottom cut at the Southwest Division. It was a 250 to 169, so a bit more competitive than the Garrison, but a bit more competitive than Garrison. I mean, it wasn't that much more competitive than the Garrison.
Right.
And it kind of feels, I mean, take from this what you will, every map that we've seen so far, Texas has improved from the last time they played UT Dallas. I mean, it was a little bit better on the Garrison, a couple of extra points to kind of differentiate between the first time and the second time they played each other. It was a 0-6 loss for them on the raid search and destroy. This time they lost, but it was round 11. And after a 3-1 win that they played the prior time, now a 3-0 win. So Texas continues to show us that they're getting better and better, at least marginally, which is going to be required if you want to take down Texas A&M Maroon after this matchup, pending you still get through this Dallas team in map 4 or 5. And it just comes down to it's going to be a difficult road, because every single time we've seen Texas play up against the top cut teams from the Southwestern Division, they've lost every single one of them. So again, not great for their chances, but at least there's improvement. That's really what I'm kind of hanging my hat on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was really what we were wondering. I know at the top of the broadcast coming in, like, which team has improved more? Which team has studied and practiced off the last time these guys have played up against each other? And yes, so far, I mean, it has looked like it's been just about all one-sided, except for maybe even the S&D, but they're able to keep that one a lot closer than last time. So there's a lot of really big pluses that you have for as far as the squad, and it's just a matter of turning that in towards a win. But Longhorns, they're looking pretty lock and loaded for as far as what we've seen in towards the AR backline, and matching that is not really looking like an option. So it feels like you need something almost to come out of the front line. And I'm looking to see if we might just get something, out of some of the performances out of Wallace, right? He has looked at least solid in some moments where he's coming on pinches, he's coming on flanks, he's finding some of these big opening kills. So if you could maybe have a extremely strong presence inside of the actual point where you're collecting time and winning some of those big important battles, that might be your answer to coming out with a map 4 win here. But you basically have to put it all in towards this, Alan, because this very likely could be your last match that you play in towards the season here. So everyone's got to take a little deep breath, have a reset, have a little pep talk, whatever it is. You have to get ready, because this might be your last one.
Yep. One last hurrah, maybe a second if you play well enough to get into that Moscow search and destroy that's going to be waiting for us for map number 5. But as mentioned, for the Longhorns, they have not allowed anyone to get map 5 on them, with only one exception so far. I mean, either they lose in 3 or 4, but all of their wins have largely come in 3 or 4 maps. This is one of those squads that overall, it feels a bit bad, I think, that they miss out on that top cut just barely, because they ran through the bottom cut in the Southwestern region. I mean, 3-0'd everybody, with the only exception being this Dallas team that finished just below them overall in the bottom cut. So I think if there were to be a squad, it just continues to feel bad, because you've got to play up against Texas A&M Maroon next, if pending you win this one, of course. But if there were to be a squad to come out of the bottom cut and make playoffs, I initially was looking at this Longhorn Gaming team, because of the run that they put together in that bottom cut by doing it nearly flawlessly. And they still stayed pretty competitive versus some of those top cut teams that beat them in the first part of the season.
I mean, with the way that they're playing, I think that's absolutely appropriate. You could just see the mechanics, you can see the teamwork. I mean, there's been a lot of time that's been put in towards the season, and they are looking solid. And I mean, if there was one or two game modes that you'd want to be really solid in, it would be hardpoint and control. So I mean,
For sure.
that's almost like when you're looking at teams that could make a potential run or make it in towards the playoff bracket, you're looking almost at those game modes for, you know, a team that is strong in towards them to be able to make that happen. And yeah, they have that for as far as, you know, a 14-5 record, I believe it is, and then they have a nice control record to follow up as well. So I mean, this is just everything that you'd want to see out of the squad to be able to maybe even upset what would be our champions from last year. So a lot to go into it, a lot to take away, and they might just have it in them to be able to get towards that matchup here and towards checkmate with the way Velocity's been playing so far. If he keeps playing like this, man, it is gonna look very likely. But if he doesn't have a great map, if someone big steps up here onto the AR line, that is maybe their chance at getting us towards the map 5. But we're about to find out here very, very soon now. And we're loading in, and it's all coming down to this.
Could all potentially be ended here for UT Dallas. We'll have to come and find out. Again, we just need to see those ARs to really start to shine.
We do.
See if Flagging can stand up to the power that Velocity has showcased us so far. That's, I think, a really, really good kind of game inside the game to focus on. Lagging versus Velocity. How will that one continue? Because they had each other's numbers back and forth in the search and destroy. So we'll see if they can find one another amongst the chaos that can sometimes be checkmate. UT Dallas starting on the unfavored side. So not only would you like to see those opening engagements go their way, but they need to find a way to move quickly if they find themselves favorable kills to switch the spawns around as fast as possible.
And we've actually seen a lot more teams recently within challengers also get a lot of time on P1 and have strong setups. So we'll see maybe how much time comes away or whether it'll just be a contest fest back and forth. So far, that is the case. As no time has gone over. Wallace makes that first move, but is punished as soon as he does it. Wavy for 2. Good to be able to get away with all the members as Hungover comes in with the last one. And Longhorn Gaming start collecting time on P1.
Just a couple of seconds. Here comes the next hit. Wendy's in the flank on the little plane wing. I'm surprised he's not trying to come into this because Hungover is so focused on what's happening in front that he would have been taken down easily. But he's able to back up, get to the table, find one, and a second. 3 in a row for Hungover. Lagging, now sneaking. And boy, what is this going to do for the spawns? Well, first and foremost, you've got to get kills here if you're Dallas to make sure that those spawns are pushed around. And that is not occurring whatsoever. Only 3 kills for Dallas. And boy, the Comets not looking good. Something else falling from the sky right now, apparently, as the Longhorns will hold the spawns and get the initial time here in the second.
Not what you wanted to see. I mean, I like to play at a lagging, but he didn't have any support when he did it. So have to look to break this from the front. Velocity for 2. Lining them up right now as he's looking very solid. Can he get himself a third? Push towards his left. Challenge comes through, and no, Magic Bear there to shut him down. So that's going to stop the spree. But following it up, there is the second AR. Spartan locking down 2. He finds another double up, and still time going over for free for the Longhorn Gaming squad.
Not good. Not good. 6 total kills for Dallas. About to be met and potentially surpassed by just Spartan. There's 6 not going to get the 7th, so no streaks to come through. Wallace now an opportunity maybe to get around the back, but will be denied, and it stays perfect for Texas. Last 8 seconds will be given up, which means that they have, I mean, they've been perfect. 80 points, 0. Not good.
And it's always really, really unfortunate when you're down by this much. You haven't got a single point and you're going to the P3 hill on checkmate. It's not a lot of time that you're usually going to get off of this hill. So we'll see what they can, in fact, do. They have finally got themselves the first couple seconds here on the board, but this push comes through, and well, it's Wavy again, finding the kills inside of the objective. A minute of hill time already locked in for him, and he's looking good to maybe keep this on going. His counterpart here, Hungover, able to also get himself in towards the mix, and you can just see sprees across the board. It's going to be 4 straight for both of the subs right now, so streaks also now potentially working towards, as we'll see finally some white come in here, Alan, but still time just not going their way.
And, you know, it's one of those things that, say what you will about the current score line, but if you were just to sit back and evaluate how this Texas Longhorn team is playing the map, they're finding so much value on both fronts, both in the front line and the back line. 6 in a row here for Hungover, who is only maybe a couple more seconds in the hill away from being able to earn streaks, or just obviously 1 kill will do it. And it's just look at how much space he's able to work with. There's number 7, 12 and 2 for Hungover. Eventually dealt with through wallbang by lagging, but it's just the space that the ARs are creating for the Longhorns between Velocity and Spartan have allowed these SMGs to find 23 total kills. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's a lot of kills for sub players to have. I mean, this is just not ideal, but lagging is getting himself slowly but surely back in towards things. He's been able to find a couple of nice kills and multi-kills coming out of these last 2 lives for him, and this has actually gone the majority over towards UTD COD green. Now, the problem is, well, getting the rest of the scrap time as well as pressing forward, and that doesn't look like it's going to be an option any longer, as every single player is going to start to spawn out. You still have a player who's going to be hard anchoring in towards the back to make sure there's going to be no wacky spawns in from behind, and you got Velocity who's just controlling the map from wing to wing right now. So there is a lot of control that the side of Longhorn Gaming have, and they still have a great setup for as far as getting themselves time here on P5.
At a certain point, Velocity is going to have to clear some space around, because that's what to say. He's allowing the COD, the UT Dallas team to get through this plane pretty far, and they may be able to influence spawns with a couple more kills, but they're just so hard to come by, it feels like, here for the Comets. I mean, Spartan Velocity, they spawn up, they find a couple of eliminations. Wallace doing everything he possibly can to keep things interesting. But for Dallas, I mean, it's just, there's so much work that has to be done. He knows the Velocity is right above him, but he can't do much. Velocity's found 2 kills from this position, top side of the wood heady, and that will be enough now for the Longhorns to come through, overwhelm, and eventually Wallace will fall, leading to the Longhorns getting above 150.
150, another spree. I feel like we've been seeing lots of sprees, but I guess the only silver lining is they haven't been getting the streaks. Now, the second problem, well, they're not getting any time. So even if they don't get the streaks, they're still in a good position overall. And you see it there pop up at the top. Velocity finds himself on 5. Got Hungover inside the point. Velocity maybe working towards those streaks now, turns, but as soon as it gets close, I mean, the kills come through just in the nick of time, but the focus towards the point, I mean, Longhorn Gaming, they are happily collecting time with the good 40 seconds left to be able to get to.
Got an extra copy of that script you're reading off of their visions, because there really have been so many moments where it's like, all right, he's on 6, can he get 7? Nope, not gonna happen. Velocity, little razzle-dazzle, spin around, but Magic Bear puts him down, and this is already a pretty solid break here through the first hard point. They've got numbers trying to move across towards the right side of the minimap. It's going to be Spartan, the only Longhorn that's survived thus far, and he's going to be here to not only try to play his life, but maybe even take a couple of lurking kills while the rest of his teammates are pushing forward. Wavy gets the reload off, scouts out Magic Bear, finds elimination. Spartan, who stayed concealed the entire time, will make sure that at no point did UT Dallas ever find a chance to spawn on the right side of the minimap. So now it just comes down to the fight for the hill itself. Spartan through for 1. Will be denied by Magic Bear for anything else, but Hungover takes up where he left off. Even able to respond to the mantle through the plane. Beautiful stuff. 3 straight kills. The 4th will eventually fall, and once more the Longhorns into the hill.
And look at this, actually. Hungover does have himself an artillery, so not the most useful on checkmate, but certainly can get the information and lock things up here for yourself. And on these pivotal money hills, this is where they've been the best. This is where they've just looked so good. The zoning, the control, everything looking in favor of Longhorn Gaming here in map number 4, 87 to 192. The scrap time being fought for lagging, but he soon realizes that he is overwhelmed. The teammates are not with him, and they will push through immediately, making their way in towards the middle of the map, flipping the spawns out even on top of it, just making it so difficult for UTD COD Green to get anything going here for themselves, as they will get over 200 points.
Oh boy. Oh boy. 210.87 the current tally. And we're on what is normally a very mixy third hard point here in the CCL. And Hungover is living in the chaos right now. Find 3, has the 4th down low, but Wavy's there to help. But at the same point, Dallas still trying to keep this play alive. Wallace, the next player forward, actually gets a little bit blessed. The Velocity moved off his position. I think also sees the corner of Hungover for a moment, steps onto the hill, looks to his left, finds the kill. Now moving forward, Spartan over to the corner. Not going to be able to find him whatsoever, but so it turns his attention back to whence the Longhorns had come from. Nice shot punch, 3 in a row. Wallace really stepping up, 19 and 17 with a minute 20 plus of hill time.
He's trying, man. I mean, he's the top fragger for the squad. Needed to see him step up and need that trade to come through, lagging, but he's caught on the weapon swap. So Wavy now finds himself with 2 in a row on that point. Does die on 3 total. And now Longhorn Gaming. This very well might be the last hill that UTD COD Green will see in the CCL season. They got to make this hit count. They come to the middle and hung over there, snapping from left to right, up and down. Doesn't matter. They deal with the first wave, and now one last push comes through for UTD.
It's all going to come through yellow, and you can see just the line of sight that's being locked down by Spartan on 3. Lagging, keeping things interesting. Oh, why not just go ahead and swap to the 74U on the ground, hung over, though, from behind. Could only respond to one of 2 Comet players that were trying to make it through. Not going to make a difference. Velocity off the respawn cleans up the lane, and that will be a cleanup overall in the series. 250-106. Hook 'em horns. They'll make their way into the second round here in the regional quals versus Texas A&M Maroon.
Oh, and you just got to give it up towards the subs. I know we've been gassing up the ARs here on this roster, mainly Velocity, but the subs really stepped up in this game of all maps, and having Hungover do a lot of these plays that you're seeing there in that final kill cam led towards the control they had around the point, led towards that 80-0 differential that we saw at the beginning of the game. And that's what really can play a factor as well. We didn't have anything matched on the side, and because of it, UTD, they will fall short and can't find any respawn wins.
That'll put a conclusion to UT Dallas's season. Now, remember, if you're joining us here late, these regional qualifiers kind of serve as a last chance qualifier to get into our 64-team double elimination style bracket. That was just the first elimination round, though, for the Longhorns. Now they've got to go forward into the qualifier matchup versus the Texas A&M Maroon Aggies. And these are the defending champions. And I feel like a lot of teams in the Southwest felt a little bit blessed of the fact that Landon and D'Lo just didn't want to play the first part of the season because they were focused on challengers. But when playoffs come around, they show up, and they show up in a major way. So a very tough number 5 team coming out of the Southwestern region that you've got to try to find your way to get through. I'm not going to say it's impossible, because we've seen upsets happen all over the place when it comes to challengers players. And we were kind of talking about it before the show had started, first and foremost, that neither Landon or D'Lo are having incredible years compared to last year in Modern Warfare in the Challengers years. So with an abbreviated squad, only using those 2 pieces of what was that championship puzzle from last year, maybe there's an opportunity brewing, but we will have to kind of see that out of the corner of our eye, because coming up next on broadcast, we go north of the Red River, and we'll be taking a look at Oklahoma. They'll be playing up against Tulsa in a battle for the Sooner State. So that'll be coming up next. That is a qualification matchup. And then beyond that, we'll switch our attention over to the Pacific region, where McCormill and Proper will jump on to take you through a round 1 and round 2 matchup there. We're going to step away for just a small break. When we come back, Battle for Oklahoma coming up right after this.